Let's go ahead and start with the main. This is the main melody, the driving force behind the entire beat, I'd say. Just some instrumental strings in the back, specifically violins. I mix in about 3 violins. Violin, sustain, string emphasis, which is just violas, I believe. And then what do we have here? Another violin melody. This entire measure only repeats whenever the tonality matches. So C minor is this. E major, something else. If you know anything about music theory, you know that the notes in C minor, the notes in E major are the same notes. Viola sustain, cello sustain. Real smooth. One thing I love to do with strings specifically when I'm working on any instrumental is kind of step into each chord progression. Alright, I never put any full chord progression in the MIDI. I always do steps because they'll blend. They take so long to fade in, fade out. These sustained strings in particular works every time. Really light. Reverb on it. It's in the background whole time. Just so that my regular string melody doesn't get too monotonous. It repeats and repeats. But with the instrumental for cinema specifically, or games or TV or what have you, I really need an ever-changing, consistent pattern of different notes. I don't want the same thing you might hear like in a trap song, hip-hop song, whatever. That changes too, changes tonality. It even changes with the key. Different key. See what I'm saying? Beautiful. Synth pads, slow release, more strings, string ensemble, slow release. The whole project is going from C minor to E major back and forth until the key change, which is really just a breakdown and a pause before we get back into it with the max amount of percussion. What we got here? Oh, my choir. Really wish I had paid more money for a better choir, but I think it rides pretty okay. Whenever it gets too high, it starts to sound a little artificial. I don't really like that. But mixed in, it'll work. Big on labs, especially the free aspect of labs. Warped Souls, yeah, the rest I don't really like. Fracture is pretty good, Warp Fracture. If you notice right here, alright, creates tension so that we can resolve in the next measure. Easy trick I got from a lot of gospel piano playing, and you'll hear it in a lot of different musics with tritones and this and that, blah blah blah. I do it later in the breakdown, right before it gets back to the original key. You'll see what I'm saying. Let's jump right to it actually. Right about here. Back to the original key. The whole thing changes. This is the key change I was talking about. I think this is the D major, I believe. And it'll go through a chord progression in that key, which I love. Same thing, just up one key. Except for the send part. The send part is a little different. A lot of tension, okay? Tritones. Back to C. C minor. Here comes our choir again. If you want your instrumentals to sound less robotic, less repetitive, put in little ear candy pieces like this. Oh, I see right here. Whoa. Yes sir, yes ma'am. What do we got? Strings, oh these are short strings actually. So if you pay attention to this melody right here, pattern 55, let's go to it specifically. I have that embedded all throughout each and every pattern. Almost every pattern. In the trumpets, in the low horns, or low brass I mean. In the string ensemble itself. Okay? I want that to play as kind of the coherent melody that you hear repeating throughout the instrumental. You want some type of unique melodic feature to stand out so it's just not some generic cinematic track. Woo! I love it. Let me double up. Where's it at doubled up? Well, let me hear that specifically. More ear candy. Try to make sure your instruments are doing instrument-like things, okay? You don't want your flutes carrying the part of a bass synth as opposed to the same switcheroo. You don't want your 808 high up here doing what the flute should be doing, alright? Use what they're good at. So what a flute does, I'm gonna have it do what a flute do. Edit your velocity as you can, okay? Change the velocity of each note so that it's even more humanistic. Alright, bass and cello by itself. Everything goes through the same general chord progression, but they come in at different times, and the ear candy comes in at different times, so that when it overlaps, it's kind of superimposed as a pattern specifically. It makes it seem like the entire instrumental is evolving. There's a music to not only the melody itself, not only the chords, but the arrangement as well. Alright? The arrangement is a part of the music too. Here it is. Right here. Embedded. Not in flutes, but in all strings. Here we go. Pattern 1. Or not pattern 1, pattern 54. Pattern 54. In our full chord. Sounds good. Alright. This is where the magic happens. Where are the trumpets? I spent a lot of time working these trumpets. Alright. Whenever you have too much brass, it starts to end up clashing. So I took select notes out of each pattern. Low and high. The notes that are most prevalent are the ones I want to emphasize, that melody that I showed you in the strings. Same melody. Alright? These notes in particular will build up those chords so that when that la 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 comes in, sounds even more spectacular. You could even call it an ostinato if you want. It's not the proper term because it doesn't repeat that much within a musical phrase, but it does repeat. And I need the audience to hear it. I want them to pinpoint that exact melody whenever they hear this track, wherever it appears. Let's go back through that one more time with all the strings. Same thing emphasized. Yes, sir. Let's go back through that one more time. All instruments, let's leave the percussion for now. No cello, no bass. I love this chord. Use this all the time in gospel music, especially modern gospel songs. After this major chord, we jump back to number 4 in any chord progression. Same pattern. I really want it to sound like there are bugs all over the place. Happy bugs, sad bugs, whatever. Insects, spiders. I want a lot of fast rhythmic hits. Over and over and over. I do the same with the hi-hat that you hear is going on with the cello and the bass. And this synth right here. Listen to this synth. Dots all over the place. Tonality change. Because of that one major key. We go back to 4. Right here. Alright? Little things like this will make all the difference, okay? It is a crescendo. So I want to make sure that my automation for the gain, all the strings and the brass as well, right at the end, comes up just a little bit. Back to the choir. I had some issues picking which drums I wanted for this particular instrumental because I didn't want to overdo it and have a bunch of jungle beats. Holla at me. Taiko drums. I don't think I'm saying that right. Taiko drums. Correct me if I'm wrong. Alright, but I love it. Let's turn our drums back on. Let's see what we got right here. Taiko, shaker. That's all it really needs. And excuse me, cymbal roll. Okay. Cymbal rolls for all measure transitions or crescendos. That's just a synth. Okay. Because of Spider-Man, I want to kind of mix it between classic, traditionally used instruments and the modern, you know, synths, pads, all things of that nature. Timpani, which I love. Okay. Really good opportunity to use the timpani. Let's try that again. Alright, I put kind of like synth dots all around just to add some more reverb and fill in the space that I took away from the rest of the instruments. They all came on standard stock with a bunch of reverb. I turned all that off because it'll end up getting too muddy. Alright, I want something that I intentionally put in, not something that just happens to be in automatically. Now if you notice at the end, these drums right here, I started to bring in more of what you traditionally hear in a hip-hop track, okay? Because of that Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse movie, Metro Boomin, wonderfully made, alright? I just figured nowadays, with these sync briefs coming in, they want to hear something a little bit more modern. Alright, that's why I put the hi-hats in, mix them with the trumpets. Same feel. Alright. It's also the same reason that I chopped up the original violin melody, this right here. Okay, is the same thing as this, but I chopped it up so that when those notes hit initially, they're a lot more on beat, okay? No more gradual fading, no more traditional feel. It's a lot more modern in the last half so that we can really build up. Okay, this is the climactic end. Same thing. This is the climax end. So I made those violin melodies. I just exported the whole wave, brought it back in, chopped it up so that it sits a little bit better on the beat. First half, it's more cinematic. First half, more cinematic, slow progression. All right, last half, climactic, hip hop, modern sounding. Tone changed again. It's the same pattern, but the rest of the character of the sounds is changing as we continue through the beat. And it's fire. Let me hear that. I really felt like there was a lot of 200 to 400 frequencies missing in the entire track. So I went back and added just some piano chords to fill in that space. And as well as the pad. It's a piano pad, it's an instrument. Traditional, synth. Bring them together. You got yourself a modern sounding cinematic track. Nice. I've got bass doubled up with the 808. 808 for the power, for the sub bass. Synth. For the low mids, that's a little bit more audible, okay? The harmonics are a little bit more audible, and what I mean by that is that you can actually hear the note as opposed to just feel a rumble, which is what the 808's for, okay? Alright. Cymbal right here for the last part of the crescendo. Into the key change. Nice. Change the rhythm of the strings. Alright, I got that from Danny Elfman's idea. I was looking at all Spider-Man tracks, taking all inspiration. Here, not only do we enter back in with the synth dots I put in the first half, but we layer them with some stronger ones, because we're about to get to the climax. More audible. Don't forget your automation, okay? So that it doesn't just hit you all at once. In addition, glitch. Where is it at? On all music right here. Just a small gator. Small gator, okay? I put this gator in here for the same reason that I put the hi-hats in 16 note or 32 note speed. Same reason I put the cello and bass. Okay? I want that kind of wobbling, crawling feel of the Spider-Man. If I turn the gator all the way up, this is what it sounds like. And I want it just so slight. Alright? Just to give it that insect feel. Then I turn it off for the climax, let the instruments full blast. That's how you do it. At the very end, we have our staccato and staccatissimo trumpet notes. Alright? Stronger, they punch through a little bit more. Always want your climax to be more prevalent than the initial building phase. Long tone, same pattern, but I have a new overlay. Same original melody, but a new overlay. Let's turn on our strings. Here it is. Trumpets come down just like that. Whenever we hear it, just one more time. Here they are right here. Let's go to staccato. Right here. Right at the end of our melody. That'll do it. Let's hear that together. Everything. Let's go. Fire. Alrighty. It's me, Roman LP, and you work with me reverse engineering the Spider-Man cinematic instrumental. Hope you learned something.